I've always believed in God, but there was a time that I was just going through the motions. I wasn't following His word. I wasn't talking to Him. I wasn't seeking good things He had planned for me. I was just there. My name is Cole, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share with you my story of coming to know Christ. What I'm about to say really did have the biggest impact of my life. And it still affects me to this day when I'm on a retreat, at church, at youth, or even just at home. I was in the 5th grade when me and my family moved from Illinois to here. And we really had a hard time finding a church. We were Lutheran then, and we couldn't find one we liked, so we eventually just gave up. A couple years passed, my brother, Kyle, was invited to Greater Heights. He started going there, but by himself. Not with us. That's not because he didn't try. Kyle invited me to come with him several times, and each time I said no. He was a senior, I was in 8th grade. He came to pilgrimage that year, and it changed his life. 2 months later, January 14th, 2011, he was driving his truck home from somewhere, and he crashed it just feet away from the entrance to our neighborhood. He didn't make it. Now, my relationship with my brother was not so good. And that was both of us. I see that now, and Kyle did too. When he started to go to this church and then got to experience pilgrimage, he tried to change that. When his funeral came around, I was so amazed at all the faces there. Most of them I didn't know. That didn't really hit me then, but it does now. It shows God's love and how strong God was with him and everyone around him. The weekend after the funeral, my mom made me go to church and to youth group. I was resistant, but I quickly felt how much God was in that place and this new church family around me. So many different times over the next few years, God used those people to strengthen my relationship with God. My relationship with God was hugely imbalanced back then. I remember feeling so torn and being mad at God for taking my brother away, and at the same time falling in love with Christ because of these new church family. And so luckily, they led me in the right path, so I continued to go to church. Never really got into all this Jesus stuff until about August of that year. I went on my first youth retreat to Camp Rockfish. That Saturday night of the retreat was so amazing because of how strong God's presence was with all of us. I was down at the altar bawling like crazy along with everyone else. I personally met Christ at that altar. I am more connected to God now than I've ever been, and none of that would have been possible without God working through my church family in what was the darkest and saddest time of my life. I see now why this phrase is so known. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. That is because God can take every single moment in your life, whether it's good or bad, and He will use it to strengthen yours and His relationship, because all He wants is a relationship with you. Remember this, no matter what's going on in your life, God will always be there. He loves us so much that no matter what is going on in your life, whether it's your parents fighting, you score the winning touchdown, someone dies, someone is just hurting, you didn't make the lead role in play, whatever it is, God is always with you no matter what. He's with you in the good times and the bad ones. When you cry, He cries with you. When you celebrate, He celebrates. Now, I admit, that isn't not always easy to remember. This is why this verse really helps me, and when God's love was just amazing. Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. I want you to ask you all a few questions, and feel free to talk about these in your groups after we leave here. What are you as a church doing for your own people? Does everyone in your youth ministry know that they are loved and that they have an amazing church family that is going to support them in this really happy times and also in the really bad ones? Do they experience Christ in your ministry? I know that my church family loves me and will do anything in the world for me. And that has made all the difference. My brother's death led me to church, but my church led me to Christ. My relationship with my brother, even though it is a spiritual one, is better than ever. I'm able to see that Christ was alive in my brother and in me now as well, and we share that in common. And that's unmatched by any earthly thing. As I close, I want to ask you all a favor. When I get talking and begin to walk off the stage, I want you to clap, and maybe even cheer. And I'm not going to ask you to clap for me, but I'm going to ask you to celebrate with me as we give the glory and honor to the one who deserves it.